What's going on, everybody? Oh, there. All fixed. All better. What's happening, everyone? Good morning. How are you? Happy Sunday here in the Philadelphia area where it's raining once again. Um, a lot to get into this morning, of course, with Philadelphia sports. A lot of sports going on. We had the Union, we had the Wing, we had the Union, the Flyers, the 76ers. So let's start at the top of the hour with a team that I'm currently covering is the Philadelphia Union. This soccer club off to a sluggish start, and I'm trying to figure out why. I am trying to figure out why this team is struggling so bad. And if this is your first time catching me, this is the Pat Benoit Show. If you want to talk anything Philadelphia sports related, bring it to the table. I talk Philadelphia Union, Philadelphia Flyers, Sixers, Eagles, Phillies, all of it. Lacrosse, it's going down. So anyway, let's start at the top of the hour. Oh, like I said, with this Philadelphia Union team that's struggling bad. This Union team refuses to look themselves in the mirror. The front office, we knew this was going to be a problem once they moved on from some of the major names that were all in this team. Ty Baribo, Jacob Glasnost, Kai Wagner, Uwa. Now this team finds itself looking for an answer, looking for a way to light the lamp, if you will, and they can. This is part of the growing pains with this team, with this Philadelphia Union team. This is some of the growing pains are going to go. Bradley Cornell, you saw him at the press conference, just looks confused on how to answer. It's easy when you have talent that's stacked up, and when you are the mechanic and you don't have all the tools to fix the car, it's kind of hard right now. It's kind of hard for Philadelphia Union, for this Union team to get things together. And this is the price that comes with it, right? Because they win the Supporters Shield. They look strong. And now they got a loaded schedule. CONCACAF, all that stuff. But, with the Philadelphia Union, it's there's not too much of an excuse because they didn't have a deep playoff run. Like in their last 3 games, they only have 1 goal, and that was off a penalty goal. Like, what is going on with this Union team? What's happening? Don't you know? Don't you know? My man Chirping Pucks Media chiming in. My man Frankie James is going to join me later on the program. I got a loaded show here today on the program. So yes, I am all, I'm just trying to figure out what's going on with this Philadelphia Union team. What's happening? What's different? I mean, yes, this is why they still have Bedoya on this roster because they need a locker room presence. They need some. Bro, talking rigged pro sports is just a waste of time. From the bars to the Bucks to the Bucks. Listen, I love all sports. I mean, it is what it is. But anyway, again, when you look at this Philadelphia Union team, I just wonder, will they ever get together? Will this Union team get together? I mean, you see I appreciate it from the bars to the Bucks. I don't know if this team's going to get together yet. I mean, you see what's on the field. Bruno Giambi, Iniev Lesis. It's not good enough. Like, it's talent's talent at the end of the day. I mean, yes, the Union probably outsmart themselves, thinking having nothing but a bunch of young cats, we're going to be able to take on this workload of a schedule, and still not the same. It's still not the same with this Philadelphia Union club. Chirping Pucks Media says The boys in blue. Quick take. The Union overachieved last season and felt incredibly short. Fell incredibly short. New coach, supporter shield, hot start. Last season, playoffs come. Nothing was very disappointing. Yeah, but here goes a problem with that though. Um, with the Philadelphia Union, the only part that's sad is you got to call, and maybe this is the sophomore slumps for the head coach himself. You know, a lot of teams now are going to adjust to his playbook. And now it's kind of like last week, he got exposed. Like New York came in here and they methodically thumped this team. The plays that they were making and all that stuff. And like, I like Bradley Cornell, but, you know, this is scary for you. Jersey Johnny chiming in. What's up, Jersey Johnny? Because Flyers hanging tough. Yes, they are. Jersey Johnny, I'm going to get into that. I'm going to talk about the Flyers with a guest of mine coming on because I am starting to think Danny Briere is the smartest man in the room. I'm really starting to think that, Jersey Johnny. I really believe that they're starting to I'm starting to believe Danny Briere is the smartest man in the room. What do I know? I take the pictures. No, I mean, listen, it's the Flyers, like I said, the Philadelphia Union, brand new head coach, but you know, people are going to adapt to Bradley Cornell's playbook, and he doesn't have the talent that he once did. And that could be the fault of the front office, saying that, you know, hey, listen, we could run with these young cats. We got a good coach in place, yeah. And probably, you know, it's not looking. It's not panning out the way they planned. Like I get it. This team is going to need time to gel. This team's going to need time to gel. But, you know, and I get it. Look, we all know it's a long season. I mean, heck, the playoffs don't start not until December. But this is not the start that Philadelphia Union fans wanted, though. And you got to credit that San Jose Earthquake team. They're good. That's a good squad out there. They're a good team. They're off to a great start. 3-0, 3 shutouts, by the way. They got a great defense, great goaltending. Buddha with the big goal last night, coming off the rush, being the one-on-one defending, and finds it back in the net in the late in the game. Side note, beard looks incredible. Absolutely beauty, PB. I wish I could grow a beard. I can't grow a beard. That's the problem. It's all. It looks like a hockey bench. It's all over the place. So again, if you guys were at the game last night, please chime in. If everyone was down there checking out this Union team, this team is going through it. This Philadelphia Union club is going through it right now. And sucks because I know there's people who paid a lot of money to go watch this team, to see what's going on. And it's just not the way they planned it. You know, this is not the way they panned it out for a lot of Union fans. You know, this team was supposed to be able to compete with a bunch of fresh young legs. But like I said, Bruno Gianni, you look at this team on paper and it's meeting reality. You know, it's not what it was last year. You don't have the talent. And this is why, and like, I love this Union team, but this is, they keep on having this faith of building through their farm system. Like they don't come out of pocket at all to want to bring in talent. And that could be a good thing or it could be a bad thing. You're scared to waste your money. But look what's panned out for Miami, right? Bringing Messier, And Messier brings his boys in there to take care of business. And look at the run that they went on last year. But the Union, they just keep on wanting to build through the farm system. And they've done a tremendous job with their money they've gotten in building 8,000 practice fields. But that's not going to help this team. This Union team is at abysmal right now. They need to be able to compete. And they can't compete right now. Like, this is not – they're off to an 0-3 start. Now they're going to be heading into Atlanta, a primetime game. Luckily for the Union, Atlanta stinks just as bad. They're off to an 0-3 start. They're off to a bad, horrendous start. So, like I said, the Philadelphia Union is just they got to gel faster. And like again, they look like a bunch of young guys on offense that just don't know how to score. They look confused with the ball. Possess the possession of the ball. It's bad. Because you just saw how crisp New York was last week, and now you've seen San Jose take care of business. Now, granted, I'll give the Union credit; they held off, the Earthquakes until late in the second half. But by then, Philly just doesn't have an answer. They can't come up with good quality shots on net. It just looks like a mess, and this is where you got to rely on the Philadelphia Union's front office to turn things around. You have to rely on that Philadelphia Union's offense to turn things around. And like I said, this is the first time I saw Bradley Cornell sitting in that press box, sitting at the looking dazed and confused. Bradley Cornell looked lost up there. And like he showed signs of panic. Or that's the face that I've seen last night. He looked like he had a panic face on. And he's sitting there saying mumbo jumbo, he's proud of this, proud of that. Eyeballs and face tell a whole nother story. His face said a whole nother story. And so what is this Union team going to do? How are they going to respond? How can they move? And again, they got to play CONCACAF this week. Then you got to play a game, get some more practice in. Then you got to get ready, get on an airplane Friday, and then fly out to Atlanta. And in this game last night, they had 20 fouls. That's unacceptable. 2 yellow cards. Yeah, 2 yellow cards last night. That's pretty bad. 20 fouls. What's up, Vinnie Mac? And what do you do? What do you do as a potential, like how I mean, you got all the locker room leadership, but at the end of the day, talent is talent. And this team needs help on talent. Vinny says, what's unacceptable is that you thought the 76ers are good, and I warned you. Yeah, Vince, you did warn me about the 76ers, and I'm going to get ready to talk about them because I lied to you. I thought the 76ers team was going to be able to compete. And it's the same old story, Vince. It's the same old story with the 76ers. It's the same broken record. With Joel Embiid's holding this team hostage, Vinnie Mac. It's craving. It's hurting Tyrese Maxey. It's hurting Tyrese Maxey. Trust me, I know hoops. Hate the Celtics, but they play. And listen, I don't like them either. But guess what? They got the guy. They know how to. They're from front office on down to the broom boy. They know how to produce. They know how to produce. And this team's disgusting to watch, Vince. Jaylen Brown. Now they got Tatum back. Like, and what do we have? A broken Joel Embiid. Yes, and White too. Yeah, right. This is a broken Joel Embiid. Like, what do we have with the 76ers moving forward? Pritchard, yeah, but Pritchard wasn't really an X factor in that game. But I hear what you're saying. I mean, they got pieces. Like, what do we have? Like last night, Quentin Grimes looked good. Like Quentin Grimes looked great last night. Coming off, he had a dominant performance in the third quarter. But what else? I mean, Tyrese Maxey. What else? What else? Where does this ball, the offense, run through? I mean, yes, VJ Edgecombe, great energy, but he obviously was not. He was doubtful in the game last night, and this team is now falling apart, losing 3 out of 4 games. Brian the second. What did we think of Maxey last night? Maxey was okay. Like Maxey does Maxey's things. It's where else are you going to produce energy from, right? You get a good game from Kelly Oubre, gives you 24 points. You got a good game from Quentin Grimes, but still, in order for Maxey to expand his game, it's only through the big man that's on the floor. All right. You had Joel Embiid early that kept him. I'm sorry, Andre Drummond was getting multiple boards, shooting the three. He looks like he's out of steam. You got Bono, who brings great energy, but still does not have an offensive game. And he's a puppy. Should have kept McCain. Big blunder by Morley. Yes, and that's the whole world, Vinnie Mac, is scratching their head of their thoughts on their thoughts on releasing Jared McCain. Jared McCain, because they thought he took a step back because of the injury. I don't know what they're thinking, right? I'm not in their front office, but I can tell you that there's a big issue with the front office. Maybe Morley doesn't know what he's doing anymore. I mean, again, he brought these old names in. It's hurting. We don't have a bench. There's no bench there. And listen, they played against the hottest team in the NBA right now, and that's the Atlanta Hawks. Atlanta Hawks now winning 6 games. They're cooking right now. The 76ers now fall to the 8th seed with 34 wins and 29 losses. Just call me Bryant. Will do, sir. They won't make the playoffs if they keep playing like this. Alex, I think they're going to make the playoffs. You got to remember, you're going to get Paul George back. You're going to wind up getting, Embiid back. But for how long, I don't know. Maybe they're just going to keep those guys in bubble wrap until playoffs. Like you said, if they keep on playing, because without Joel Embiid, this team looks mediocre. They have no wing players, rebounders. That's a big plus too. Like one of the plays yesterday. I mean, I love Bono, but he came right on out to the perimeter last night, and it was Daniels or Jalen Johnson just took that bait and went right down with a big dunk. Think we might need to trade Embiid soon as possible. Am I alone on this? No, Bryant. But the problem is 6 years ago, 7 years ago, that probably would have been the move to make, right? Get rid of him. But what's the value for him? And in order to get rid of him, you're going to have to send Maxey too, and George, Al Hall, and just do a complete rebuild. And that's another thing too, Ox. The owner's heart isn't in it. He's in New York. I don't know about. I think Josh Hart just wants to, not Josh Hart. Excuse me. Why did I say Josh Hart for? But the owner's heart is not here. He just wants to rack up teams. I don't know why you tell me that one. So, again, the 76ers, excuse me. The 76ers, though, they're not playing good ball. Losing 3 out of 4 games. Losing 3 out of 4. What is this team going to do? Like, without Joel Embiid on the floor and you need Paul George, you need some kind of defense. They don't have it. Was it nice to see Quentin Grimes go off in the third quarter? Yeah. But what else? What else is there? What else is there, And like I said, the development of VJ Edgecombe, great to watch. And Paul George isn't available until the end of the month, which I don't know if that's any help. Right. Well, he'll be a help. I mean, he'll give you some mid-range minutes. He's a great defender. You need that. But, it's crazy because I didn't want Paul George. But, right now, I need anything. A new process. How about that, Ox? As it is. PJ is a lazy player. Yeah, but, Vinny, you need his defense. Like, I'm begging for help right now. We are begging for help with the 76ers team. And by the way, my name is Pat Bernard. If you haven't yet, please hit that follow button, whether it's TikTok, YouTube, wherever you're at. Hit that follow button, please. Typical player. Yeah, Cali player. And so, I mean, like I said, I like to talk. We got a variety of topics to get into it. We have the Philadelphia Union is off to a slow start. We have the Flyers. That's just a big question mark because I don't think the Flyers did that bad. Friday, I felt like I put my head through a table. Now I'm thinking they're the smartest guy in the room. You got the 76ers. Look mediocre without Joel Embiid. It's the same old song and dance. And I'll tell you what. Then we're on the topic. I'm going to tell you this. I find watching Villanova basketball, Vinny, you're going to like this. I find, trust me, the East Coast players much tougher than mentally. I find watching Villanova basketball more intriguing than watching 76ers. And now, if you think about it, it's been like that for quite some time. Watching Villanova hoops is more intriguing than watching. Thank you, Chirping Pucks, for sharing at the show. Thank you. They're more intriguing right now because Villanova's got young guys. They're energized. They're always in the Tory. They give you opportunity. The 76ers is the same song and dance for years. For the last 10 years, it's been the same song and dance. Is Joel Embiid healthy? Is this and that? And like, you don't get that. Love Nova. Shame they left let Big Five go down the tubes. Yeah. Right. And listen, like, I had a ball. Like, last year was the first time I got the cover from Madison Square Garden. And I had a ball watching an energized team. Marky Mark Same bleep, different. It gets old. You're right. Break Your Bar Champ says still y'all still sell high on McCain. Oh, that's a look at. First of all, time out. Let's back it up. Let's back up the truck a little bit. Yeah, you're right. Listen, this was a dumb move by the front office by moving on. By moving on from from him. Very dumb. Very, very dumb. Very, very, very dumb. Probably the dumbest trade y'all you could have made. Yeah, break bar Jamie, you're right. This was the dumbest move. We have no bench. We have none. That's why they kicked the tires on Cameron Payne to see if he could bring any kind of life to the front office. Vinny says back in the day, Big Five schools were good. Yeah, I loved it. I love Big Five schools. Love traveling, going around the stadiums, all that stuff. Like the 76ers are not a good squad. Point blank. They're just not a good squad. It's just it's struggling to watch a basketball team that has so much potential. But this is why Villanova basketball, it's how do you get I'm supposed to have more energy, more interest in watching the 76ers, but I don't. Compared to Villanova, watching a young, energized team, I would watch that 10 times over. And as a beat reporter for Villanova, I mean, I'm not just telling, it is what it is. I would rather watch any college hoops right now over the 76ers. What's the hook for the 76ers? Maxey potentially be an MVP, okay. VJ Edgecombe, okay. But at the end of the day, are they a contender for the NBA Finals? First quarter of the year, looked right at it. Now, they're looking like a one and done because of health issues yet again. Health issues yet again of Joel Embiid holding this team hostage. And my father-in-law was right. My father-in-law was right saying that they're going to hold this team hostage. And that's what they're doing. That's what the 76ers are doing here. This is like I said, I don't find 76ers basketball to be intriguing at all. I'd much rather watch Villanova basketball. A team that's young, a team that's energized, a team's got a good head coach, bunch of young cats flying up and down the court. And the 76ers give you the same song and dance year in and year out. Why would I want to watch that? Is Joel Embiid going to be healthy? Is Paul George going to be able to hang around for a half a game of basketball? Why would I want to watch that? Brian says starting to go back to watch old 2000 76ers or basketball in general. It's crazy. You have to go back to their 25, 26 years ago to enjoy 76ers basketball? Is that where we're at right now? Do I need to go through a time warp to the Iverson days? The last time I had enjoyable basketball? I don't know. You guys tell me. There's just so much to so much to get into. So much to get into. It's a shame. It's baffling. Baffling enough with the 76ers team. We need Iverson days back. They need Iverson somewhere in that front office. Somebody who can enter. And I don't know if Nick Nurse is, like I said, I didn't think Nick Nurse was that great of a hire. He just has the Kawhi Leonard championship resume under his belt. That's how he got the job. I mean, what does he bring to this table? Well, that's what it looks like from the outside in anyway. That's what it looks like to me. You know, it's tiring son to watch this team. It is. That's why I said it's more. I feel more energized watching Villanova. But in other positive news, what's this? Not to be disrespectful, but you look like Nate Diaz. I don't find that disrespectful at all out there, Julio. I look like Nate Diaz? I'll take it. He's a cool looking dude. I didn't realize I look like Nate Diaz. All right, I'll take it. Well, did you watch the Thunder Warriors game last? No, I didn't get a chance. Yeah. Diego, what's up? Thank you for the like, my man Diego. And by the way, everyone, my man Diego will be joining me as part of my Union beat reporting team. So I appreciate that. Shall walk down Draymond Green's cook now. Yes, you did. I got my hair cut yesterday, so we got a couple of things, fresh looks. That's good there, Frankie. Turpin Pucks looks like he's freshed up. I'm freshed up. I still go to the same barber since I was 14 years old. Still getting the same haircut. Still got the same facial hair since I was 14 years old. Only comes up patchy. But yeah, 14 going on 16. Yeah, I think I got vampire blood in me. I haven't aged since I was 16. So let's get in some more comments here. It is what it is. Hi. So, but yeah, like I said, man, it's been a crazy. Let's get this started. Cutting into my Flyers time. All right. Well, listen. Let's bring out the big guns. I'm gonna bring him out right here on the Teka Talker. I know I said I want to bring him through the YouTube channel, but I think I'm gonna bring him on the Teka Talker. Frankie James, can you come on through the Teka Talker? I know I called it audible at the last second, but we're getting so much over here. So much traction. I don't want to cut the cheese here, but let's bring in Frankie James. Let's bring him on. Frankie, what's up, buddy?
I was just texting you, and this is your conscience speaking, telling you always support the Fly Guys.
Yes, sir.
Let's go, brother. Let's go.
Listen, for everyone,
you want me to come on TikTok? What do you want me? You want me to switch over to the phone?
Yeah, no. You're here. You're looking great. You got the hat on. You're looking sharp. Got a fresh beard. The beard on. First of all, I'm going to need one of those T-shirts.
Fresh look for my guy PB.
Yeah. Listen, I'm going to need one of those T-shirts over there. They're looking good.
PB, thanks for having me on again, buddy.
No, listen, guys, if you're just chiming in, I got my man Frankie James on from Turpin Pucks Media Podcast. But listen, let's get right into the program, because Friday a lot of Flyer fans were urgent and angry at Danny Briere. First of all, not making a move with Ristolainen. They didn't move on from him. They moved on from Bobby Brink, a solid third liner, and it didn't look like they had anything going. They bring up Alex Bump yesterday. He makes a little bit of a splash out there in Pittsburgh,
Definitely a
and
spot.
get his first goal of the year. So first of all, let's back up a little bit. What's your thoughts on the Flyers trade deadline moves?
So I've always kind of said, and once again, PB, thanks for having me on. Only guy I'll talk Flyers hockey with.
Oh yes,
I said from the get go, man. I'm still invested in the rebuild and just seeing what they're going to do to either relieve cap space or to get rid of some of these bigger contracts to see what you can get, what kind of assets you can get for the future. So I would have liked them to probably sell a little bit more, but I'm okay with it. I'm once again, nothing was disappointing. You didn't move any of your major pieces. Like people were talking about, and Tippett probably possibly move in and move Tippett and move Coots and move this and move that. Ristolainen is still here for another year, so it's not like he's a free agent at the end of this season to where we need it to make the move now. His stock isn't one of those where like a Brink situation where hey he's at an all time high, let's move him now. So I'm okay with him staying here. Not to mention he's he's a solid defenseman. You know what you're gonna get out of him, and they're hard to come by. It's crazy. I'll never forget where I was the day that Ristolainen was brought in here. Man, it was oh god, I remember what a contract that was. I can't believe it was actually coming to an end. I went through. Look, on a personal note, man, I went through a few networks. I mean, I was with that old shit network. I'm going to mention their name. We already know that. Respectfully, went through that, and Ristolainen is still here. So I'm okay with it. I'll rate it a C plus B for the simple fact.
Really?
Yeah, I will. Yeah, absolutely, I will. Yeah. I mean, we'll be one of the teams that have the most money to spend next year. We have a lot of upside. Once again, a lot of these moves that you're seeing, kind of similar to the Zegras move, are a lot of high reward, low risk. The defenseman that we brought in, I don't know too much about him. I've been doing a little bit of research. So he was part of the 2022 draft, top 10 pick. Was expected to go a little bit higher, but didn't. But he was the year that we drafted Cutter Gauthier. And obviously we were taking Cutter, but he's a top 7 pick. So moving Brink, you were moving somebody that had high. It was the highest he was going to be.
Frank, before you go any further, I got this guy Brian chiming in. Says, "I can't get into hockey like that. Shame on you, Brian. Shame on you,
Brian. Come out to one of my tournaments, Brian. You'll have a great time.
Shame on you, Brian. You should be fully invested in some hockey talk. You should be watching this Flyers team. Come on, what's that about?
Watch the boys. Absolutely. Is this on TikTok? Because I know that
yeah.
Share some of the comments.
Oh man, then we got one that says oil up. Oil up, bro. Is that for an oil? Are you talking about the Oilers there?
Yeah, I don't know what that's supposed to mean actually, but that's okay. Maybe it's a Diddy thing, respectfully. So moving on. So the Brink move, I like it. Once again, I mean, we're seeing what these players have the last couple seasons and what they do with the opportunities that are given to them. Brink's been up here enough to see, he was at the highest trade value you can get him at. I mean, a week from now, he could be slumping and then we get nothing. So we got a high upside defenseman, 22 years old, 6'4", right-handed shot. He's got a good shot. He scored a goal last night for the Phantoms. His first game with the Phantoms, he scored.
Nice.
He scored last night with the Phantoms. No big deal. But you were making move for the replacement, and his replacement was Bonk. And I watched Bonk a lot when I was down there doing photos at training camp. And I'm sorry. I'm like drawing a complete blank here. Hold on 1 second. I'm gonna check my
Alex Bonk.
Alex Bonk. Great guy, great young kid. He gets to go in his first game. I mean, that's not easy to do. Those nerves on a first game, and take it from me playing for 20 years. I'll never forget my first game for playing for Father Judge High School. I mean, all boys Catholic high school, really good reputation in hockey. And I scored a goal my first game. Granted, we were down 13-2, and I celebrated like the game winner. But that's a big moment, man. That's a big moment to show up. And not only that, then our other young kid, Denver Barkey, captain of his team, another incredible talent. He scores a goal. The guy that everybody wants to trade away, Owen Tippett, he scores a goal. It's like, holy shit, everything happened. And I know that was it was a total coincidence to have all those guys kind of score like that. But it shows that we're trying to keep the right guys here. I've been seeing a lot of people wanting to get rid of Trevor Zegras at the end of the year too. I don't know why people want that, to be honest with you. I mean, this guy is absolutely incredible. He's an absolute gamer. People will say he's a crybaby and stuff like that. I don't know where they're getting their info from. Maybe they're the crybabies, disrespectfully. But I give the moves a B, man. I do.
Well, then, like I said, I actually, like I said, is this, at first everyone's ripping their hair out about all the moves that,
Probably you included that, Bernard.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm one of them. I was really power driving myself right through this table, but
you're KO yourself out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere. So, but look, I looked at the moves, right? You sit there, you take a breather, you kind of, it's first of all, it's a natural reaction. Why aren't we buyers? Why are we sellers? Everyone looks at the playing field. Everyone looks at the fact that, the Ducks are in a training in one direction with Connor Gauthier is just, I guess we want to say balling out over there in Anaheim. We're sitting here.
You want to play here. PB, he didn't want to be here, PB. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
he did not want to play here. So when and listen, I have a bigger issue with that just from being a hockey player playing pro for 2 years. I'm not a big fan of how it went down because of the simple fact I'm not a big fan of players dictating where they want to go. Because I'm just not a fan of that. I mean, you got drafted to the NHL, you show up and you do your job. I mean, it goes back way years with like the Lindros situation, like he didn't want to play, and if you want to go football with it, Eli Manning. Like I just was never a big fan of players trying to dictate where they want to go. Now, I don't know what was going on the inside that Cutter didn't want to be here, but it's unfortunate because he really turned out so far the really good talent. I didn't expect him to really turn it on like this right away. I mean, we always kind of wanted that with Nolan Patrick. I mean, when we brought him in second overall, we were hoping that he was going to be that guy. And once again, second overall pick kind of goes to a waste, unfortunately. And just from a hockey sense, not really a personal issue because I've dealt with migraines and concussions for a long time. I was out of hockey for 9 years because of it. But who cares what he's doing over there? We got Jamie Drysdale, who when he's healthy, he could be he's a solid defenseman, number 2 defenseman, number 3 defenseman. We got something out of it. He didn't want to play here, so people like, oh, look what he's doing. Who gives a shit what he's doing over there, dude?
Right. Well,
in Philadelphia, we absolutely pummel him. The bench, the boys are barking, and they're barking.
Yeah, the boys are barking. And listen, like I said, the Flyers get the first moves were they moved Bobby Brink to Minnesota, bringing him back home. We get David Javorchak required to be that, to be a defenseman, which this team can always need to load up on defensemen.
Yeah.
And then you bring in a veteran player and Lewin Gwynn, who's been around the league, he's been around for 12, 13 years, who's been with the Devils. He's, obviously, if you're looking for at his stats, it doesn't get you excited, but when you look, maybe he's a leader, maybe he adds somewhere else.
Maybe he's cheap and filling a spot,
and cheap like me. Yeah, I mean, listen, he does. Like I said, Danny Briere. Like I know a lot of people are frustrated with the minor moves that he made or didn't make. Maybe they felt like he could have gotten a little bit more in. But
on a buy level, like
on a buy level. But I look at the way what Danny did. He moved on from Bobby Brink, but he brings up this kid Alex Bump, gives you a little bit more excited, and still regardless, like yesterday, they go into Pittsburgh, they battled. And granted, Pittsburgh did not have Malkin. They didn't even Malkin suspended for a few games. Sidney Crosby wasn't there. He's dealing with the injury from the Olympics. But you get you get into this dog battle with the Pittsburgh Penguins as expected because it's a rivalry game, and they just clash, and you walk out with a win. Why? Because your two young cats and Devin Barkey, Alex Bump get on the scoreboard. I got to give it to, if you pay attention to the detail, which I know you did, Christian Dvorak. He's an animal in the offensive zone. He's trying to set screens. He's trying to get himself open. He's aggressive down there. And then you get all like you said, Owen Tippett sets the tone of the game.
Yeah, dude, another big goal by Tippett. I mean, once that guy gets going and really turning his game into a power forward, I mean, we had the 3 players that we were hoping would score. I mean, Barkey keeping that young, and Barkey's going to be incredible. He's a second line guy, if you ask me, within like 3 years, especially with some of the guys we'll be playing with soon. Bump gets his first goal, and a nice goal too. Nice goal. And then Owen Tippett, a guy that everybody wanted to move on from Tippett, and he puts one in that. So he kind of quiets the noise around them. But I'll say this: not having Crosby play, not having Malkin play. I mean, if they were in the lineup, with all due respect, we probably would have lost the game. I mean, Crosby he's played against us 100 times, and he has over 112 points. Now that's not literal stat, but
right,
he's been over a point per game against us. But with that being said, I think it was a perfect situation for the situation that is, Bump comes up, Barkey comes up, you got Vladar and that. Like you get to steal this win and start to feel pretty good about it. But and we won't get into this just yet. There also comes with the aspect of like, what are we doing here? Is that our guy?
That is our guy. The Soldier Steve.
That's one of my favorites in the whole wide world, man.
He is. Soldier Steve. He is a great guy, great human being.
Love Steve, dude. Love you, brother. Miss you, man. But like I was saying, what are we doing now? I mean, they obviously moved some players to probably, lose a little bit. I don't ever believe in the whole tank situation. I don't think and with all due respect, I mean, Gavin McKenna has not led up the expectations. That Porter Martone's actually blowing him out this year. Not only in the game against PSU, but like he's just having an incredible year. But are we looking to settle again for another 14th, 15th pick? We have to, and that's the thing. Like we want to still get that top 10 because so many moves might help. Like I mean, shout out, not do a shout out, not that he needs it from us anyway. But Hunter Broads, he lost his mind because it's like, what are we doing? We're not like we just won 3-4 in a row just to get close again, and then to lose and now only have like a 15th pick overall. Like we don't want that. So we'll see what happens towards. It's like one of those things. Like either you're going to make the playoffs or you get a good draft pick. You don't want the middle. We don't want the middle. That's something that we definitely don't want. But with that being said, I mean, Porter Martone. I mean, this kid is just. I mean, like I said, people expect him to be up here regularly next season. I still think he'll get like 12, 13 games, depending on injuries. But I'll be surprised if he comes up and makes camp. Not because he's not talented enough, just because of just development. But this kid's, man, he's an absolute stud. What an absolute beauty down there. I mean, he's no PB, but he's an absolute beauty.
No, you know what? You like you said, you and I are just talking about, right? Like to me, I think a lot of people look like they fold at the table, right? They look like the Flyers fold at the table. To me, I think Daniel Briere is the smartest man in the room because now you're bringing up players that no one has film on who can play. Yeah, we've always heard that this Flyers farm system has decent players waiting in the wings, and now they're starting to fly a little bit. You can still juggle and mess around with teams. I mean, if you look at it, like you said, we're at 69 points. We're at the 11th seed. I mean, the playoffs is still in high sight, so you can still make some moves. You still can go for it all. I mean, you still have a decent goaltender in Danny Vladar. Which I know the Flyers are going to try to rack him in here, keep him long term. You got a decent player in Travis Zegras. You're going to try and make some moves. I mean, and look at the young core. Once Michkov gets back into his game self, I think this Flyers team.
Man, he had 2 goals in a game winner in overtime, and right after the break, like let him cook, and they moved him to the wing. Like he's a guy that just has talent, man. Like you can really put him in a couple different spots. And once again, I'll still stick with it. Seeing what they're going to do surrounding around Michkov and finding out what we have in this farm system finally at an NHL level. Because I was saying it too. Our farm system has been incredible. I mean, we have, don't forget Tyson Forrester is going to be back. I mean, once
Yes.
he was on pace for probably like 25, 30 goals. I didn't
And-
even have him that high. And I remember when Troy and he was just because he was him and Cam York were two players that I watched like in juniors, like before they were when they were coming here. They were two players I had my eye on. And when I spoke to a couple years ago when Forster first came in, I was part of the at the training camp, I interviewed in LePerriere at the time when he was coaching. And the question I asked him was, "What are you seeing out there?" And he says, "Obviously, he can score goals." So you're looking at a potential 25 goal scorer from a really like a third line, possibly second line guy. I mean, you imagine putting Forrester with like, I mean, I don't even know what the lines will be, but he's making things happen. I mean, it sucks because that one line that one of the only good things that he really did here, John Tortorella, was that Forrester, Brink, and can't remember who the third guy was on their line, but that line was cooking the third line. But now obviously that's broken up a little bit. Injuries happen, so I mean, the kind of end the conversation with Friday. I think that it was a B move. You can move Risto next year, and we have a ton of money. Where like everybody's waiting to see, oh, we're going to do this year. Wait, we're going to revisit this back next year, and we're going to be like, told you boys, wasn't you don't have to force to make the move. Go with don't pay a bunch of people right now, and wait till next year who we can bring in. I mean, like I said, you have a shot.
It's really it's a win-win situation for the
Shout out to the
Flyers.
kids in the background, by the way.
Yeah, going through the fridge.
You're welcome to come on any show they want. I know some got an issue with it, but guess what? They can come on Chirping Pucks anytime, and I hope that other crew's watching.
Yeah. Listen, you get, like I said, you have the Rangers tomorrow, which is that. I mean, the Rangers look like they're completely lost, but I'm not going to count out it's a rivalry game. Then you go up to Minnesota. Which is going to be tough.
You still win. That's just going to be incredible.
And then you come back here Saturday night against the Blue Jackets, which could be a tall task. So, I mean, but look, I mean, like I said, all in all, I think this team's in good hands. Dane Barrera, to me, is the smartest man in the room.
What do you want to see, PB? What do you want to say?
I mean, like I said, I'm hoping for a playoff run.
You're a fan. You are, and that's why I like to come on the show to give you a few different points and different kind of perspective. But I know you want. I know how bad you want to see the boys do it. I mean,
and listen, I've been thirsty for 5 years to just get playoff hockey back in this town. Look, and listen, and this is a win last night without TK in the lineup. So again, when you get a healthy TK, you get a Tyson Forrester, now you got guys who can score in all your lines, and then you get decent in leadership with a couple of guys like Couturier and Gwennon and all these other guys. So the season may not be lost. Like I said, you have a decent goalie in net. Which is only going to make Sam Arison step up his game. Because if you remember that 2020 year when Hart was here, that's what elevated his game. Last year, he was a man on an island. So now you got
incredible. He was very surprising. I mean, I said it too. He was put in a situation that was like, holy shit. But I mean, we all were as media members, as fans. Like the incident with Carter was just was just insane. Not insane, but it was I mean, what more can we say? I mean, but he came back, and he came back for a reason. I a little behind the scenes stuff. I remember when all that was happening. I have a good connection out in Ontario. Buddy of mine, he's a coach with the OHL, Ontario Hockey League. Well, his father is like on the board with Team Canada. So we were on the phone before Danny was getting ready to go into the presser, kind of to make a statement about Carter Hart. And me and him got on the phone, and we were like, "Yo, dude, totally off record. What's going on?" He told me some stuff. I told him some stuff. But yeah, man, it was, and he was kind of right too with what he had said. But it's good to see him back. Carter was the first player I ever interviewed on the post game show. When I was with Flyers Nitty Gritty, I'll shout that out. Jamie Bascal gave me my opportunity to be able to do what I love doing. But yeah, goaltending is just still, once again, always just going to be like a big question mark here. And it makes you go back and think like, why didn't we keep Bob? Why didn't we do this? Why didn't we do that? But that's why we brought Carter up 2 years early because we had no goaltender. I mean, goaltending is still a issue. You got to have a solid goaltender. Like that's the guys that steal wins for you. I mean, look at Hellebuck. USA.
Yes.
Look what he was just able to do. Look what Bob's been able to do. Like you got to have that guy that can kind of steal those wins and not just rely on that's what playoff hockey's all about. This isn't a playoff team. I don't think next year will be a playoff team. I think we'll surprise people next year, but the year after, oh yeah, we'll be right there, buddy.
Well, listen, Frankie, I appreciate you hopping on.
I do
thank you for your time.
plug.
What's that, buddy?
Just a quick plug. Chirpin Pucks. We're back on Wednesday, but not only are we back on Wednesday, we are back with Pat Bernard. Pat Bernard will be joining us on Wednesday on Chirpin Pucks podcast. Kind of learning, talking a little bit more Flyers hockey, but also learning about Pat and his journey through the media and stuff like that. Pat's one of my favorite people in the whole entire world, so I'm really excited to bring the show back with you on it. I think that's all I kind of got. Yeah, make sure you give us a follow. And Jason Martinez, our good friend, says hello. I talked to him a couple weeks ago.
All right, tell my guy I said hi. I'm gonna, he's a good guy.
Listen, it's great to talk to you, dude. Love your fan base, and just a little shout out for Joe Howell too. Joe Howell's been checking in on all of our shows.
Oh, nice. So he hasn't left you alone yet since he's followed you. Good, that's a good guy.
Yeah, but brother, listen, I'll talk to you soon. Hit me up after this. We'll have a little conversation just about our show on Wednesday. Love your fan base, Pat. Whatever I can ever do for you, dude. I'm always in your corner, my friend. And listen, Nate Diaz, bro. That's
I don't know where I look like Nate Diaz, but yeah, I'll take the compliment where I could get it. I don't get much compliment. I'd be surprised if a squirrel thinks I'm cool. But anyway, I'll let you go, and you have a good day. All right.
All right, brother. Love your guts, man. See you.
All right, we got another guest in the lineup. Like I said, the Philadelphia sports scene continues to roll here today. First of all, answer the turbocharge is the question. I'm a Patriots fan here. Do you want AJ Brown on your team next season, or do you want him gone? I want him gone. I want him gone on turbo. I want him gone tomorrow if I could. I do not want. I don't want him here. I'm tired of AJ Brown's crying and all that stuff. I'm just tired of it. If you're gonna sit there and cry, and I listen, you want that in your you want that in your locker room, by all means, have at it. Because like I mentioned, when it was time for that man to make his money in playoff time, he couldn't even come up with loose change. I mean, the ball was in his basket the entire time. A.J. Brown was throwing – Jalen Hurts was throwing dimes into his hands. And he just couldn't – and A.J. Brown just couldn't come up with the money. So anyway, big game today. This is a rivalry game. This is a rivalry game today between these two teams. I mean, when I went back to – when I became a fan, into it, the Firewolves and the Red and the Philadelphia Wings would just go at it. This is obviously the Firewolves move out of New York. They go up to Oshkosh, and you have the Philadelphia Wings. Now, normally a rivalry is good based off your record, but still, right now both teams haven't been playing their best lacrosse if you look at standing wise. But however, they do have a home and home coming up here starting today in South Philly at 3:00. So if you have nowhere to go, I suggest you get down to the barn today because it's going to be a barn burner. If you want to see, I'm going to imagine it's going to be some physical, some trash talking, all that and more between these two teams. So with no further ado, the man who's going to help me get through with this because he knows what's going on. He is the guru when it comes to lacrosse. He is all over the world when you talk lacrosse. Let me bring on my man, Gary Group. Gary.
Hey, Pat, what's going on? Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday. Today is a big game, 3:00. Despite the standings, with the Wings being 3-9, the Firewoods being 2-12, 2-10. What is the upside for both these teams in a game like this? I mean, I know, like I said, I mentioned about the trash talking, the physicality is going to take place today. What do you see out of both these teams today?
Both teams are looking to try and get themselves right. They've had really rough seasons, both of them. Now, remember, let's go a little bit into history. You brought it up a second ago. It's Wings 2.0 against Wings 3.0. If we look, we're in Oshawa now. We just came from Albany, which came from New England, which came from Philadelphia. So Wings 2.0 versus Wings 3.0. So there's always that little rub. And again, you're looking at the trade deadline is tomorrow. Guys are going to try and put their best foot forward because who knows, you can go from a 2-9 team to a 9-2 team overnight because Buffalo needs somebody. Colorado needs somebody. They have draft picks to give, and these teams are looking to build. A number of these players are on the conversational lists. I would think, out of Philadelphia, I think Nick Damude's probably top of the list when people are talking about what they can grab if they need some goaltending or even, emergency goaltending, getting a solid backup because you're only as good as your goaltending is going to take you in the playoffs. The other one that would come to mind for me is Joe Resetarits. And the rumors are Buffalo wants him, and he's, a Buffalo guy. So to go and finish his career where he began wouldn't be a terrible thing. Plus, Buffalo has some assets. Philadelphia can use those assets. We have probably the best draft we've seen in 10 years ahead of us this summer and the following summer. So to get first-round draft picks is gold if you're rebuilding. Just look at Toronto. Toronto took 3 draft picks, and take a look where they're at now.
Yeah, it was a quick turnaround for the Rock. The Toronto Rock, again, you cover them. They for quite some time, they were, a top contender for the NLL Final Cup. And then all of a sudden they took a hit last year. Now all of a sudden they turned the page that fast. And again, it's all about building, from the ground up, and they done it, right. So now Paul Day, again, today, enjoy it. It's going to be a rivalry game. But outside of that, like I said, tomorrow's the trade deadline. So do you think, the Wings want to, like you said, maybe want to give Deacon Knock the start today? Maybe they want, because they want to save, what they could get in return for Nick Damude. Maybe not have Joe Resetarits in the lineup because, again, you want to save his vulnerability for for a trade deadline and get a lot of, in return.
It's a definite possibility, but then again, when you're not rolling that great, Philadelphia, my big thing with them, and I've been going on weeks about this, is I don't see guys having roles. I don't know what Blaze Reardon's doing. I don't think he's got a role. I don't think he knows what he's doing on this team right now. He used to be that bull in a china shop out front, and ever since Brendan O'Neill's come around, the ball goes to him. It doesn't go anywhere near Blaze. Blaze is setting a pick here and there, and that's about it. Well, you don't need that in a lineup, really. You can get somebody a lot cheaper there. You have Resetarits, who's doing what Mitch Jones did last year, but Resetarits is your scorer, and he needs to be doing that. So if he's facilitating, then he's not scoring. And you got a bunch of guys who aren't scoring, hence the Wings not getting a whole lot of goals, hence them not winning a lot. It all comes down to roles and what guys are doing. There's a number of pieces there that are really, really strong, in my opinion, because I love that, they traded Nick Rowlett to Toronto the other day, about 2 weeks ago. They're putting the eggs in the basket now with Bo Columbus. I've watched Bo for the last couple of years as a junior. He's going to be a bona fide face-off guy. He's good. So that's the right move, looking down the future. I like Alex Pace. Chris Corbeil, he's a journeyman now. He spent some time in Toronto. He had his major career, of course, with Saskatchewan as their captain during their championship years. But is his usefulness there in Philadelphia needed? Or should he be on the block again to another team that needs some veteran leadership going through into the playoffs? And what can they gain from that? I know Toronto was able to gain some pretty good picks out of Philadelphia, trading him to Snoo over to them. I believe That first round pick of CJ Kirst happened to be that one. Only the all-time NCAA scorer, right?
Yeah.
Good way to turn your organization around.
Listen, CJ Kerr's a franchise player, but like I said, I want to back up a couple of things that you said. First, I want to start with Blaze Rudin. Again, he looks like he's lost in the shuffle. Like you said, you don't know if he knows his role. A few years ago, when I first started covering this team, he looked like he was your bulldozer, just creating havoc down low, be able to score. And now it's kind of the physicality of this team is just not what it was. Even going back to game one, I just remember that defense just putting people on the board, smash mouth style defense. And I don't know, I don't know why they got away from it. But it just, that to me was their identity of this team. And like you said, you talk about Joe Russell-Terrence taking on that facilitating role instead of being that, top-notch goal scorer. And now you kind of put your all eggs in one basket of Mike Sowers and Brandon O'Neill to be that goal scoring piece for you. And it's just, and a lot of things too have gone, not as great for this team. You got to see it a little bit last week. You got to see the secondary scoring of Dalton Young come up with a hat trick. You got to see Brairs Reardon get a couple goals, get a couple assists. Eric Furnell getting a 4-point piece. But it's going to be very interesting on Paul Day's end of what he wants to do with this team, because obviously I think the playoffs are just too far out right now, and it's time to think about next year and all that stuff.
Yeah, and I wonder where the transition game went. You talked about Eric Fennell. You got back Flash. He's back in the lineup now. You had Liam Patton, and all of a sudden it all went south. There was no transition. Well, it's pretty easy to defend when you're just waiting for the offense to come on, which makes them one-dimensional. What happened to Phil Caputo? He was hurt for a bit. He came back. He looked pretty good when he came back. Then all of a sudden you get lost in the shuffle again. So I'm thinking maybe he's up on the trade blocks as well, because there's obviously a team or two that can use secondary as well as a little bit of toughness. And again, I've known Phil for years through the Brampton organization. And, he's had trouble fitting in. The only place where he really fit in and he really thrived was Panther City.
Right.
Toronto, they used him as a D-man, which was a mistake. So he wound up playing left press box most of the time. Panther City, he thrived as Rochester, he started getting his feet under him, getting a forward. Panther City, he thrived. He came over to Philadelphia and gone, lost in the shuffle again. So I think that he can be useful, but I don't think that he can be your number one, number two scorer. If you can find the right role for him, again, we're talking roles, the right role for him, and he can be a real advantage to your offense. Right, you can even use them transitionally.
And from what I saw of Phil Caputo, he brings aggressiveness. He brings that Philly swag. He's always down in the crease, ready to score or something like that. But like I said, maybe just his role here is just not fitted. And he, like you said, go to a contender that may use his services to be that big playmaker that he once was, and kind of get back to a game of it, from Panther City, to kind of get back to that. But for right now, it's he's only averaging 2 goals a game, if that, anymore.
See, the other thing is, you got Landon Sinnefield back now, and he's a stud if he gets an opportunity. And you put him, you get Brian Kent, you get Dalton Young in there as well, and these are the future. And you put him with a Sowers and a Brennan O'Neill and start building that way, and instead of trying to piece this, that, and the other together. It's Fisher cut bait, and I think it's time to cut bait and start really going from the nitty gritty all the way back upward. Sorry, fans, it's going to take a year or two, but there will be a light at the end of the tunnel if they do it this way. Get those picks now. Next year's draft is, full of great talent. See what you need first and build from there. The one thing they don't have a problem with and haven't had a problem with is goaltending. Going back to Zach Higgins, as much flack as he took, remember, he was facing 60 some odd shots a night from not having any defense in front of him. And he was still, I believe he still has a record for the most amount of saves in the season, which is obscene for the amount of rubber he saw. Take a look what he's doing in Ottawa. He held Colorado last night to 5 goals. I think he held him to 1 goal in the second half. Absolutely off the charts. And if you want his biggest supporter and biggest fan, you need not look any further than your backup goalie, Deacon Knott. Deke is learned his craft in the NLL, watching and talking with Zach. And I had Deke on the show on Thursday on my show.
Yes.
And it was a great conversation. I've known Deke since he was a kid, and watching him come up through Peterborough, watching him come up in with the Canadian juniors and CLL winning the gold. You want to talk about a storied career already. He was the final piece for Burlington before they won the Minto Cup, and that was no small feat because they had to knock off an Orangeville team that was undefeated that year before going out west and winning the cup. So Deke can do it, and I think it's probably his time now, which makes Nick Damude expendable. And for the season that Nick is having, regardless of what the scores are in front of him, you take a look at his statistics, and he will be an asset, and he can garner a first-round pick somewhere, guaranteed.
Yeah, listen, it does have me surprised that this has been the Nick Damude show more than Deacon Knott. I thought he was going to get the start, the nod right away, and this has been the Deke. And trust me, Nick Damude has been really for me what I've seen. He's been an upside for this club. He's really turned things on. He's really come on strong. Like I said, he's probably going to wind up getting out of here after today. Today will probably be his last scenery, his last showdown here in Philly before he gets moved on. So then you are going to get the Deacon Knott show. Probably starting out there versus the Firewolves up in Canada. So what is your take though with this rivalry? How far do you remember this?
Well, up until recent, Oshawa, Albany has been a contender. Now they are a young team, but they have this youthful exuberance that, and with Glenn Clark as their coach, have just been able to exceed all expectations. It goes even further back when they were in New England as the black, whatever they were called then.
Yeah.
It's hard to Black Wolves or whatever. But they were, if you remember the COVID year, they were the ones expected to win the championship.
Right.
COVID shut down that season, and they moved to Albany. The rest is history. But this thing since the beginning, because again, you had the Philadelphia Wings who moved to New England. This is that team. And there's always been that little, we're better than you. No, we're the upstarts. We're coming. So there's always been that thing. Now, if you look at toughness, Oshawa has picked up over the last few weeks Dawson Theed. They've picked up Emerson Clark. Both guys from the Brooklyn area, not Brooklyn, New York, Brooklyn, Ontario. And both from that area. And so they're just fitting in beautifully. The fans have taken right to them. But, what's the first thing that Emerson Clark did? Well, he got into a fight with Elijah Gash in Toronto. Well, great way to reestablish yourself, right?
Yeah, it's like I said, today should be a fun one. I'm curious to know if Ian Rubel is going to, set a couple guys because tomorrow, because of the trade deadline, try not, and see what we have for the future of this team.
I would assume that he's going to play everybody because I don't think
so?
it's etched in stone. And I think this team really, nobody is technically out of the playoffs yet.
No.
It's amazing that you have 3 wins and you can still be in the playoffs, but you get on a run, across the game of runs. You get a good run going, and what better day to start than today? And you can be on the right direction. But that's not to say that you give up what you're trying to do in the future for maybe making it into 8th.
Well, that's why I said it's very Paul Day has a lot to think about in the next 24 hours, whether he wants to fold or if he wants to make a move here to try to keep himself, keep this Philly Wings team relevant. I mean, like I said, Paul Day has done everything he can for me to try to make this team relevant. And, it brings in Mitch Jones last year. He moves on from Mitch Jones. Why takes a gamble moving on, trying to go younger. And give the opportunity for guys like Mike Sowers and Brandon O'Neill to take their inside and see if they can make the switch from the outside to the inside game. And it's going to be a lot of fun for the next 24 hours or so. But today, like I said, it's going to be for me the big one. As far as, like I said, maybe the you could throw the record books out the window because Today is just about the rivalry and about these two teams locking horns. And again, like I said, I expect the trash talking on the floor. I expect the hard hitting, the physicality to be there between both clubs. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Right, because you got to remember also Oshawa's got a bunch of guys who are probably going to be packing bags and moving along too. You know, I'm hearing rumors of Ethan Walker, which is huge because he is the heart and soul in there. But I'm also hearing maybe Dawson Theed, since he's just come in, might be on his way out also because he can garner quite a bit of attention as well. Maybe Kyle Rubish for a team that needs a veteran defenseman also. So they're going to be playing their hearts out as well. And they have sorely underperformed this year, even though they have all this talent. You know, you take a look at guys like Alex Simmons. You take a look at Ty Kurtz. You take a look at you can just keep going on and on. Jonathan Peshko. Carson Moyer's gone into the lineup a couple of times and looked really good. You have a bona fide star goalie in Doug Davison in there. It goes on, and it just doesn't make sense to me that they haven't performed well this year. And they've had the problem where it's either one or the other. Either defense has locked everything down, offense has scored nothing, or offense has given them 12 goals and defense can't stop them. And they just haven't been able to put the whole performance together. And I've watched one game this year where they put it all together and they absolutely took Halifax to the woodshed. So it is in there. They can definitely do it. And you know, just like Philadelphia, talking with Deke, there's a lot of, you know, camaraderie in the dressing room. It's not like anybody's turned on anybody. Same thing when I was talking with Ty Kurtz. The Oshawa dressing room, everybody is on page and everybody is on point and everybody's trying to get it done. It just isn't happening this year. And I think a big thing is Joey Nardella being out, you know, their bona fide faceoff guy. And, you know, if he can actually, you know, he's going to be out for the year. So you get a year where he's back and you get all those extra possessions. That changes a lot of the talk as well.
Yeah, and it does. It does change a lot of the talk. Like I said, it's you know, this is a Fire Wolves team. Maybe 2-3 years ago, they were knocking on the doorstep of the ML Finals, and you know, now they're trying to get themselves rebuilding, trying to get themselves back. Maybe if not this year, if they can't make a run this year, trying to find out something for next year. Like you said, this is going to be a deep draft. And same thing with the Wings. You know, maybe not this year, maybe next year, but still, like I said, it's going to be interesting in the next 24 hours. But you know, I got to ask you a question. Guys, this is my man, Gary Group from All Across All the Time. Make sure you follow the show here tonight at 8 o'clock. Big game here in South Philly at 3. Yes, he's got the hat out. I like that, the combo hat. But make sure you give my guy, Gary, you know, All Across All the Time, the follows on all social media platforms. Gary, I got to ask you before I roll 3 o'clock, you know, game. I know you'll be watching. What's the meal? What's the meal of the day at Gary's house for the game like this at 3 o'clock?
Oh, man, it's a hearty thing, man. We got steak and potatoes going on today, baby. You know, we're going to get right to the steak of it all. We're going to see it all. You need to have those carbs. You need to get that protein. You need to get it going. So steak and potatoes are going on today. We're going to start getting the thing cooked up soon. We already got the steak marinating. So, you know, we're looking forward to getting a good sizzler going, you know.
Hey, listen, that's you're talking Philly language now. You're talking steaks, potatoes. You're talking my kind of language. You know, that's rub the gobblers alley. So, but anyway, guys, make sure you give my guy Gary. He'll be on tonight. I'll make sure I'll pop in my usual cameo self. Hopefully, my blood pressure won't be sky high. I'll make sure it's down low. You know what I mean? I'll make sure I maintain my blood pressure at a medium level.
We always look forward to the props that Pat brings.
Yes. Whether it's the bag over the head, eating fruit. I mean, I'm well prepared for what's about to happen. So, guys, give my man Gary a follow at All Across All the Time right here on Stream Punk Media Network. Again, guys, you can catch him here tonight at 8 o'clock. Okay, Gary, have a good one, and I'll talk to you later on.
All right. Take care, Pat.
See you, buddy. So that was my man, Gary, guys. Great job as always. He does a phenomenal job. So he does, you know, like I said, love watching Gary, you know, and all of his content and all the hard work that he does.